His opponent in the bottom right in the red for Genesis Gaming, flying that main. He is PiLiPiLi. You know, Ben, we've made a mistake here. The fact that Katz is not in this broadcast when we have a literal lion on a logo, and I guess he doesn't have his fur collar today, but I mean, let's be real here. Opportunities lost.
Yeah, I mean, like we have Katz with his lion mane sometimes, and then we have me with no hair at all, and then we've got a lion logo. It's an absolute opposite day, you could say. If you were an animal, what would you be, Behemoth?
I don't know. I know when I was a kid, my favorite animal was a cheetah because they're really fast. And then I found they're, massively inbred, and the population went down super low. And
cheetahs are inbred?
Cheetahs, yeah. Their total breeding population back in sometime in the last 100 or sometimes the last 1,000 years went down to like 100 cheetahs. So they've been able to bring them back, but their breeding population just got insanely small because they were hunted, and they were also seen as like this zoo animal that like all the different kings of Africa and Europe would put to their menageries, which took them away from the savannah.
You went real deep into this. I was going to say, like, I always when I say always, I always like tigers. But
tigers are cool.
Now I don't know if they're inbred or not. Like, I just don't know.
Tigers are fine.
And then, like, maybe I'd be a bald eagle, given that I'm bald, but maybe they're inbred too at this point. Who freaking knows? Anyhow, MaSa starting off with a bit of a bunker here. He does have a Reaper coming across the map as well, and he's being proper annoying with this SCV as well.
Yeah, we see him angling there, trying to get his SCV to a really nice RNG in that little corner, so it cannot be. He got it. There's no stopping this one anymore. But PiLiPiLi, he's okay. His pylon was down at a good time. We're going to see a shield battery go down here. And Ben, we don't really expect to see too much damage here. Just delay in mining from the natural until the stalkers pop out. But we're going to have to see. The Reaper doesn't get anything in the main base. Looks like no, because MaSa is aware of the timings. At the very least, that shows some level of, at least, I don't know, maybe historical understanding of the matchup, but he's going to be fine here. Bunker, just denying mining for a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. And like, this is kind of what you want if you do this kind of bunker opening. You force a shield battery, which may not seem like a lot. And also, this is just annoying for having your opponent have to deal with this, has to make a Stalker, not a Depths, which the Stalkers have to play defensive. Oh, he's going to get a nice little kill there on a probe and gets to see the scout on the Twilight. All said and done, not the worst for MaSa. And look at that +1. That is ridiculously fast for him.
We're going to have to see whether that is going to be a problem for PiLiPiLi after losing one earlier. Okay, I got that out of my system. But in general, yeah, it's a super fast +1. And then with the two additional, well, no, sorry, that's a 2-on-1. Yeah, weird build.
Yeah, super weird build. And I think PiLiPiLi did a little bit of CC blocking as well with his own probe. So both these guys were willing to duke and dance a little bit at the start with their workers. PiLiPiLi going for a nice blink opening here with the third Nexus. A very quick third Nexus as well, despite that opening. And I love the pile on the right side, just giving him a little bit of vision behind that third in case he gets Widowmine dropped or dropped later on in time, which we know is not going to happen for now. But yeah, this is just a nice textbook TVP thus far.
Well, it's a textbook PVT. I'm not sure that.
Yeah, it's not about that +1.
PvP.
That +1 is super damn quick.
This is, you want to talk about textbooks? This is textbook MaSa right here. He is always, certainly coming back from his extended breaks, he has always been one of these players that is extremely aggressive. And he always has his own, a slightly different twist on how he wants to be aggressive compared to the standard Terran meta at the time. So we're going to see this. Stim will be done. He's going to be like 530-ish, and he's going to run across the map. Blink will be done by then. But as we're only on 2 gates right now, if MaSa can look to snowball this a little bit, there's not necessarily going to be a lot of stalkers out on the map for PiLiPiLi.
No, it's just that +1's finished, which I know I'm honing on. It's just so weird. And like Stim, it's just like 2/3 done. So it doesn't time with anything. Maybe it was for like a really fast +1 armor, so you end up with this like 1/1 bio very quickly kind of thing, which he is getting the +1 armor very quickly as well. I guess he's hoping for quite a brawly mid-game here. So let's say that in 2 minutes' time, a little bit before 7 minutes, he's going to have this window where his bio is very powerful. So that's the time window that I think MaSa's really going to be diving around, dancing around, getting tanks as well on the go. He's up against Charge Lot being the tech of choice, which is unfortunate for him. And I have no idea about how much these two have really played against each other recently.
Well, I mean, you know, Ben, 1-1 against Charge. So normally this build has +1 stim, combat shields, all that. And then you have charge, you have shield or armor, and it's like, well, okay, let me swallow this whole. The addition of that armor, that I don't know that's going to be enough to necessarily balance out the benefits, the advantages of going for that charge less style, as MaSa does get an observer. But certainly it strikes me as maybe something that's going to work a little bit better. You have these extremely tanky zealots, but at least the Marines, they're a little bit tankier as well.
Oh yeah, certainly. I like each zealot has 2 attacks, so mitigating the damage by 2 per hit with that upgrade definitely helps out. PiLiPiLi has kind of revealed that he's going for this Bruiser army, not the tech option that we saw Trigger going for, where he goes for Blink and then Colossus. He's going for Charge and then Immortals and stuff, and that is unfortunate for MaSa, given that he's gone for tanks and what have you. PiLiPiLi trying to get a scout off here with this probe, get to see what he's up against. Probably saw the tank there if he was quick enough, and he's dotting about pylons here, there, and everywhere. This is going to be a hard push to hold, but if PiLiPiLi plays it right, he could absolutely slaughter this.
Man, these pylons are coming down, or these gateways are coming down right at the perfect time. Charge done in, what, 15 seconds? But PiLiPiLi, he's added on 6, 7 additional gateways. He's going to be able to build so many zealots for this defense. He just needs a little bit more time, and it looks like MaSa will be able to give him that time. His upgrades, concussive shells, combat shields, they're about 15 seconds out, and that really is going to be the timing that MaSa's looking for as he sieges up now, looking for some way to knock PiLiPiLi down. Good force fields to start here before the upgrades of MaSa are done. Immortal going forward, but the zealots, they're not warped in just yet. MaSa running around the side of things, knocking down some of these pylons, but it really doesn't do anything. PiLiPiLi absolutely has what he needs. The longer this goes, though, the more zealots that get warped in, Ben, and the harder this gets for MaSa to make the push happen.
Yeah, now the tanks are dealing damage, friendly fire damage. He's trying to focus down the Stalkers with them, but those tanks are absolutely forfeit. And look, Blink done as well. PiLiPiLi, with the +1 armor finishing, kind of baited that fight to happening. And now you've got MaSa on the run, and PiLiPiLi's not making any more probes with this. He's just looking to kill MaSa right here, right now.
One of the benefits of this style with Blink and Charge is it's so mobile in this game. It is so hard for MaSa once he loses the fight to run away from it. And here comes the army of PiLiPiLi. MaSa, he threw his army away, and now PiLiPiLi with a massive supply lead. He's going to knock down the third base at the very least, or at least force it to lift. MaSa, he's doing what he can, and maybe he's got a bunker he can look to hide to, but that's going to be a nice single force field there, forcing the Zealots to be able to fight, and that is a dead third base. It doesn't matter that it lifted. It's in the ground, or I guess in the air, floating away to infinity. I don't know what MaSa can do to make this hold happen anymore, and even if he does, I'm not sure how much it matters with the damage that MaSa has taken. There we go, the bunker goes down, tank falls, and it looks like with the SCV pull for a moment, Ben, he's going to be able to force PiLiPiLi back, but a moment is not enough in this game.
I tell you what, though, losing valuable Immortals there, missing the pickup there did PiLiPiLi, but the third base dying, that's a big deal. All these SCVs dying as well, and these medevacs getting shot out the sky as well. It's just too much Protoss at this point. It is a real damn chaotic fight between the two, but it's just too much Protoss, too much PiLiPiLi. Timing the attack worked, and behind this, he's even teching up to go double Robo into Colossus tech as well, getting the armor upgrades as well. I like the way PiLiPiLi played. GG.
I do too. Now, Ben, did you ever watch the original Dr. Dolittle movie, the maybe Gene Wilder in it, the 1970s one?
When you said the original, I thought you were going to say the Eddie Murphy one, because I thought the Eddie Murphy one was the original.
Okay, apparently not. Well, I don't know if they have it. I haven't seen the Eddie Murphy one, but they have a two-headed llama called a Push Me Pull You, and it has a head on both sides. I don't know how that really works, but that is what Berlingrad is. That's what this fight felt like. You know, you push me, you pull you go back and forth and back and forth. And eventually PiLiPiLi was able to convince the army, convince the fight to go the direction he wanted. But hey, look, I made a media reference. I'm one of the cool kids now.
You did, from a 1970s movie. Yeah, you know, today I learned Eddie Murphy Doolittle was not the original. Oh man, you know, in a few years' time, people are going to be like, "Hey, did you see the Doolittle movie?" And it's going to be like, "Oh yeah, which one? The Eddie Murphy one?" He's like, "No, the one with Robert Downey Jr." And it's like, God damn it, what kind of world am I living in here? But yeah, that was a nice first game actually. Like, they both kind of played how I thought they would. PiLiPiLi's always been very good with Blink Stalkers, like always. And MaSa, he's the kind of guy that's in your face. you definitely felt that some of the time windows, like getting the early engineering bay, didn't really make all the difference. And he did what he had to do to make use of it. Like we talked about that 7-minute timing where he's going to have 1-1, but very unfortunate that he went for tanks against a player that went for zealots. That's just one of those things where it's like, you make a call. If he went for Widowmines, it would have been better, but then if he goes against Colossus, then it's not better. So yeah, unfortunate for MaSa.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking about in that game was we talked about +1 and having that really quick 1-1. Maybe that buffers the difference in zealot charge. But was it worth it to cut as many corners to get the additional upgrades, to get that eBay so fast, to get those upgrades fast, when it might have just been better to do with a standard build and have, what, maybe 10 more supply in that push? And then maybe you're able to at least trade out evenly and not go from somewhat even supply to, 70 to 30 in the army supply, at which point you're not holding that third base. You're really not holding that game.
Yeah, like there is a reason that standard is standard, because it's the thing that has worked the most. And if you delay that engineering bay, you get your, like, let's say 3 barracks up and running, then you get your eBay, you get your +1. Then it's like, yeah, you talk about having that extra supply. And if you play it perfectly with Terran, you shouldn't really be taking these hits. So the +1 armor, not that big of a deal. And it's just like those resources can be spent elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, if MaSa has been sat away for a little bit, maybe he wants to pull out this cheeky, weird stuff. I know if I'm sat away for a bit, I'll probably whip out 3-Rex builds in general, but I mean the proper dirty 3-Rex, where you push with stim and combat shield and you really go ham. And that's the kind of stuff that can really kind of brutalize your opponent. Doesn't really require as much practice as it does to stop it. There, I said it. Protoss players, you can be happy with that one now. But yeah, the second map here, we're loading up into it, will be Hardwire. This is actually, I would say, better for Protoss overall than Berlingrad, but I dare say both these players aren't too unhappy with this map choice.
I mean, it really depends on how these players look to play the game, what their prepared strats are. And again, I don't have a good idea. We know MaSa is probably going to be aggressive, but that's not who's spotting in the upper right. He is, in fact, in the red. His name is PiLiPiLi.
And spotting over in the bottom left as our blue Terran, it is MaSa. Definitely a weird kind of way to go about it for MaSa. Like, if you just tune into the game and you're like, oh, that's just a Terran push, going for that early engineering bay, like, that is something that is very unorthodox. And here, going for an early scout, which most probably is going to be an engineering bay block this game. And I like doing weird things, man. I like throwing off your opponent, especially if you've been away for the game for a while, because you're already throwing off yourself. Might as well throw off your opponent as well.
And I mean, this is classic MaSa. He has always been one of those players when he's active that does go for this style. Like Clem's another, Mars another, although they're probably more stable anyways. And PiLiPiLi understands that this is an opportunity, so he pulls 2 probes down to the low ground and says, no, you don't get to eBay block me, or if you do, I'm going to scout it immediately. I'm going to get some damage on this SCV, and, well, it's just going to be annoying. So MaSa does have the eBay block starting now, but maybe starting it a little bit later than he would have liked, and PiLiPiLi is already on top of it. The only thing to look out for now is whether MaSa is really greedy about this and decides to still try to build his command center on the low ground. That's not what you want to do. But if you're just trying to find some small advantages, that is, I guess, a possibility coming in from our Canadian Terran.
That is cheeky. Bringing the SCV over again, just to be like, because the normal approach to this is you bring 4 probes down. And even if you see like, you can kill the engineering bay, you don't have to make the zealot and stuff, but PiLiPiLi's going for the slightly more greedy approach. It's greedier in the sense that you have all your probes mining as you want to, but it's also less greedy in the sense that, hey, I'm going to have an extra unit out kind of thing. But yeah, just a little bit of an either-or situation here. Both the command center and the Nexus now start at exactly the same time, which, if you're a Terran player, you're like, okay, this is a decent spot for me so far.
Yeah, so it's really just going to be interesting to see where MaSa goes from here. I think the prevailing narrative that we've been talking about of PiLiPiLi is going to do something standard, whatever. He's probably been playing more, been looking better, and it will be incumbent upon MaSa to do something rather weird. But we don't have a good idea of what that is just yet, Ben. There's a bunker, sure, that's standard. We have a command center going down on the low ground.
Ooh.
Okay, well, you know what? There we go. That's what we're looking for.
It certainly is. And that kind of opening, 3cc, off doing what he started off with, It's nice. I like it. It's going to be very hard for Pili to scout with what he's done, and you can see he's going for a shield battery at his front as well, which we know he won't be using for a long-ass time, but he's literally not going to be able to scout. And the fact that he went for the Zealot and then the Stalker, he's not going to be able to constantly send in an Adept either. Lost his Scout probe as well to that Reaper. This is just a bit of a gnarly situation, but MaSa's done all the setup, and he gets away with it.
Yeah, I guess PiLiPiLi's scouting is going to be less adept in this game than we had last one with that lack of that unit, but also Blink is on the way. He's getting his robo decently timed. He's going to take his third base eventually. While he may not be able to scout, he does most likely go for some Stalker aggression here. We're going to have to see whether it's with the Warp Prism or not. And then I guess that's kind of its own scouting. If that is its own reward as he eventually maybe finds his way into the main base. But for now, there we go. Third gateway on the way. A little bit more pressure opportunity as this Reaper really is not going to get much done anymore. But good scout in the main of PiLiPiLi.
Yeah, certainly. Nice little wall off there for PiLiPiLi. The way that he's done his wall off, by the way, kind of makes me think that he was a little bit scared about the potential of Hellions coming, which again is because he hasn't been able to know exactly what's going on from his opponent. We see this, and if you see this, if you're MaSa, you're like, hey, that's not bad for me later on. That's a nice spot for his units to get choked and funneled in when we're really going about it. But MaSa, he's got that early +1 again, but he's gone about it in a very different way. Gets Stim, gets Factory going. He's ticked all the boxes, and economically, he's in really good shape, man. I think Pili's going to try and go for Colossus and a third base this game. It's the only thing that really makes sense from him.
It is a delayed third, though, and in this setup where MaSa has been able to get out, he started his third base at earlier than 3 minutes. Okay, there we go. There's your Robo. This build for MaSa is shades of beyond. It's something that I've been talking about a lot, and we don't see all that often. But you get your 2 barracks, or I guess in this case, your 3 racks. You get quick stim. You get your insanely fast third base. But on the flip side, I mean, the factory just finished. Starport on the way. Your tech outside of +1 stim combat shields is insanely delayed in the game state. So you have this weird, powerful timing with just your bio as a stim timing, and then it is very much a turtley style as you wait for your medevacs and your Widowmines and everything else you could possibly want in this game to really start production in a significant fashion.
It's a far more orthodox approach from him, though. Like, look at this bio squad that he's mounting, and it's getting scary for him. Or when I say scary for him, his army's getting really good against what PiLiPiLi has, because even though Colossus are great against bio, if you have enough bio, especially with enough Marauders, and you get the upgrades rolling out, and you have, let's say a 20 supply lead, which you probably will, that's when you can really get pounced on as the Colossus player. And PiLiPiLi's played so safe this game after the opener that MaSa's greed has really paid off. This is like RTS 101. One guy's playing greedy, one guy's playing safe. Way better for the greedy dude.
Ben, look at the SCV count right here. We have a Terran player who, without doing any sort of damage, is up on workers compared to a Protoss, and he has meal, so that's a bit scary. He stims out here just a little bit, but ooh, nice pick off there from PiLiPiLi, getting a medevac, taking a little bit of the oomph out of this push that MaSa may look to do. But again, I can't help but harp on this. It feels like PiLiPiLi needs to do more, whether that's really stomp the eventual push for MaSa, even with it as it does continue to grow massively in supply, or maybe even find some damage by his on the other side of the map, because a Terran that is up 4, 5, 6 workers at this game state has a significant, and I mean a significant economic lead.
Yeah, certainly does. The +1 weapons is finished, +1 armor on the way as well. Let's look at the unit count. A lot of Marines, still not quite enough medevacs to do anything, and killing a medevac does slow things down. Next two medevacs just starting, because there is one weakness for Protoss on this map, and it's when Terrans start doom dropping you and stuff in your main. And you see that PiLiPiLi has a few units in the main ready for that kind of stuff to happen. But upgrades haven't started yet for him. And oh my goodness, even this single Marine taking out 3 probes over there, these are things that you really don't want to have happen to you.
In this game state where your economy is down, I know I'm harping on it, but losing 3 workers, yeah, it's only 3 workers, and Chrono will fix that pretty quickly. But even still, the one thing I want to point out here for MaSa is he is rather delayed on his armor. It means his Widowmines, they don't hide, but it's TVP. It doesn't really matter all that much. But we're not going to see his 2-2 timed out all that quickly. It buys PiLiPiLi time to catch back up in his upgrades. He doesn't have a forge yet, but eventually that will be a thing. But the interesting thing here, Ben, we have a Templar Archives going down even before the Forge. It looks like, I guess, he wants to go all 3 tiers of Splash in this game, Disruptors, Colossus, and getting that early Storm.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets to that late game, he's going to be in pretty good shape if he can survive it. Because MaSa, you know, he delayed the armory to get out a lot of units, but that's the thing. He did some delaying to have such a good timing, and this has worked out very, very well for a lot of Terran players out there. And look at PiLiPiLi's actually running into it. This could be a super anti-timing for him, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that Templar Archives maybe for some Archons as he does get aggressive on the map. We don't see them in production tab just yet, but this composition with Archons, say, in charge slots, Ghosts are already on the field. We're looking at a D5-6 Widow Mines here. This is not an army. Maybe if the Colossus get good shots, but other than that, this is not really an army that fights what MaSa has all that well. But if he gets a couple good shots off here, 2 Ghosts go down to start the fight. Widow Mines are going to start things. MaSa's not really fighting the Colossus just yet, but oh, those hallucinations, they're just a little bit fun. MaSa's going to get on top of these Colossus, though. Will the hallucinations matter whatsoever? It looks like not really. 1 will go down, but the Colossus are continuing to fall. Hot pickups on things. Archons morphing in, but Ben, you said it. This is anti-timing from hell. MaSa's going to clean this one up. Warp Prism is going to survive just on the edge of things, but that didn't work from PiLiPiLi. That was a bit of a mistake.
It was just super unfortunate for him. Like, everything that MaSa was going, like, MaSa wanted to get his attack going at that time. So the fact that PiLiPiLi did it for him, hey, that's great, man. Like, there's that phrase about bringing the mountain to you kind of thing. Well, that's exactly what happened. And MaSa now recoups, and he's like, okay, now I'll get my armory, now I'll get the engineering bay. I've done a lot of damage to you. With that, we look at the economy of the whole thing, 75 SCVs to 60 probes. I mean, MaSa is in the driving seat here. There's no question about it.
Ben, would you say that last fight was masterful?
Masterful, absolutely. Or masterful, as you said. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Mate, I thought, oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since I had to deal with you punners, you know? You absolute punners. But, okay. Oh, look at that Disruptor as well, getting caught out. Will it get the shot off? Wow, lucky.
Ooh, from downtown, though, those Widow Mines. I like the idea from PiLiPiLi there with the flagging Disruptor, but MaSa was aware of the potentiality. That being said, when we look at this army supply and say, look, it's great for MaSa, these charge lots are just not allowing to fight the significant portion of MaSa's army. It looks like he's still got some at home. So supplies are good. Supplies in that fight are not so good. Means PiLiPiLi will be able to hold, establish his 4th base for now, and he got double forged. Upgrades are on the way, but in the meantime, MaSa also has his armory. His 2-2 is here. He's going to have those additional upgrades for the Vikings to make them kill Colossus even better. And look at this. He's going to post up a nice spot here. And to Muslim, there are no stalkers here whatsoever. Nothing really to deal with these Vikings. Those are just 2 dead Colossus, and this may be the timing that MaSa's looking for.
That is brutal, man. Like, all the AoE just went away in that army. It's one sad Archon. A very, very sad Archon. And oh my god, these are 0-0 Zealots against a hell of a lot of bio. That's just brutal, man. And the Archon gets sniped down as well. Great game by MaSa. He looked in control right from the get-go. Super good build order choice as well. Lined it all up, and even the fancy unload right in your opponent's face, I like it.
There we go. Ben, you say the AoE is gone from that game. Well, luckily we got some AoE on the cast.
That is true. Elephant Man himself, you know. It is good to cast some StarCraft again, though. It's got to be said. You know, this is the pace of this game. It's insanely hard to keep up. And, just got a random guy asking me if I want to 2v2 on VNet. Not right now, mate. Not right now. Casting some games over here. I'm wondering what the 3rd map in this series is going to be, honestly. Because so far, we've had kind of a stomp, but from either side almost. And I'd rather be in MaSa's position when you did the stomping afterwards, because that's kind of like, okay, you got momentum back in a way, but you can never count PiLiPiLi out. His build was a lot different in this game. He got thrown off a little bit on the early on, and it's 2K Atmosphere, like one of the most standard maps in the pool. This is where we'll see them really duke it out, I say.
Yeah, I feel like that build we saw from MaSa is something you get off not even just once a game, but once in a tournament. All right, the whole, yes, I got a lot of stuff, but also I have this exceedingly greedy setup. It's incredibly punishable. if the Protoss player is able to figure out what it is. So you throw it out once, say, look, oh, hey, I got a game. I don't know that we see that again this series. I don't know what MaSa has in store. Honestly, Ben, his series planning has been fantastic. I know we talked about how much is he prepared, but he had the super aggressive build that maybe put, I don't know, maybe put PiLiPiLi in a certain mindset, then he goes super greedy behind that. Yeah, maybe we do see some sort of middle of the road path game 3, because he's certainly done each side of that path.
Yeah, MaSa is very much a series player. Like, when did he, was it Scarlet he played against, where he just kind of 2-racks her 5 times in a row or something ridiculous? Like, he has a way of absolutely getting into people's heads and whatever. Yeah, but this was nice. Like, he did that bunker block, saw the Zealot, and was like, you know what? I don't. And then it was a Stalker follow-up. PiLiPiLi just had absolutely zero scouting for any kind of situation. So it was a really nice build order choice by him. That said, you're totally right. 3cc has to be punished in some way. Very often it's the Protoss outgreeds you from that point on, realizing that they don't have to be scared about anything. But yeah, trying to get away with that twice in a series, it's going to be tough. So what will MaSa bring in this particular game? Wait and see.
Yeah, I really don't have any good ideas for you, Ben, but I can tell you that in the bottom left, in the red, he is, from Genesis Gaming. It's PiLiPiLi.
And spawning over the top right as our blue Terran, it is MaSa. Now, is this the first game in this group for these two?
Yes. Group B started with this series and, of course, 3 more others on the B, C, and D streams. And then we'll have MaSa and everyone in Group B playing one more series in our next slot. But together, Ben, we have to get our way through probably the most standard proxy I've ever seen, Proxy Barracks Reaper. I feel like at that point, it just defines TVP. What do we see? It 60, 70% almost of TVPs?
Really? Do we?
It's pretty common. I don't know how much you, I cast a lot of TVP in Katowice, and again, maybe it's not 50, 60, 70%, but it is significant enough that it really has been defining Protoss openers.
I mean, this one is a bit special, like, because I often see, like, okay, is it a proxy? And then it's like, okay, is it a fake proxy? PiLiPiLi went and scouted that main. He's like, you got double gas? Like, that could be a lot of things. Like, I remember seeing a proxy, but then it's like 1 Marine into very fast Widowmine drop or Hellion follow-ups and stuff. Whereas this, scouting that in the main, like PiLiPiLi sees that and he's like, you know what? Of course I'm going to make a Nexus. I'm going to make an early Zealot as well. I'm not going to worry about it too much. And seeing this SCV still hang around, maybe that's giving away the game a little bit, that the proxy isn't quite a fake proxy and it is really close to Pili, which, PiLiPiLi knows about it now, but MaSa's going to... Oh my goodness, that was quite a rocket jump.
Bounces around. Now, Trap has actually been really vocal about this Zealot in particular, saying you should build this every single game, regardless of whether you know what's happening. And if you don't need it, you cancel it. But having that Zealot out is really nice, and it's turned out to be incredibly useful here. Yes, it's a dead Zealot, 100 minerals down the drain. Cool. It's about time for a Stalker to come out. It means this bunker will not really complete, as we see MaSa, just by the presence of these Reapers, kind of zoning the Stalker out. He doesn't really know where it's going to go just yet, but now the Reapers find their way into the natural. SCV trying to complete this bunker. It's going to have a long ways to go as the Stalker's continuing to find value. Shield battery will not complete, and there's the dead SCV. So MaSa got... How do we want to count that? 0 damage? 1 damage?
He got a Zealot, right? Got a Zealot, and I think he got a probe out of it too, which isn't bad. But it gives PiLiPiLi a bit of relief. He also forced the shield battery at the natural, which, you know, PiLiPiLi probably didn't want that as early as he did. So overall, you're talking like 250 minerals, which isn't bad. But the amount of time that it also costs you, that's a reactor you're not making at home. It's the barracks you got to fly back to, then make a reactor. Your amount of follow-ups and the amount of units on the map, you definitely feel a little bit scared as a Terran. But equally so for the Protoss, it's like, okay, he's not going to be spending those minerals on Marines and stuff. What's he going to be spending on? Is it a fast third? Is it... And look, what we see in the production tab, an armory. So that is going to be MaSa's way to get into this game and be like, hey, I'm going to catch you off guard with this. Oh my god, this is true NA. A Dark Shrine on the way. I love it.
Win in a game of StarCraft, and you can do it. Go Dark Shrine. I think that's the modern version of Win Behind Dark Shrine. But yeah, we're going to have some Cloaked Widow Mines, and that's going to be maybe a problem. Certainly the Robo is going to be done, so Observers will be out. Not as disastrous as some versions of this that we see. But still, that's going to be a lot of pressure on PiLiPiLi coming out, well, right before the Widow Mine, or before the DTs are finished. So we're going to have to see just how much damage these Widow Mines will be able to accomplish here in this game, Ben. Does PiLiPiLi make that happen? Does he pull off what he needs to? Or is this actually going to catapult MaSa into a fantastic position?
This game is super wild. I think this is going to line up well for the Widow Mine
Drilling
player.
Claws?
Yeah, he's getting it afterwards. Like, this is going to be non-stop droppage afterwards. And look at that. Reaper's distracting while this drop happens. And remember, these are invisible. There's no... In fact, I think an Observer just finished. It just finished now. And that could be maybe PiLi's saving grace. Gets to see that Dark Shrine as well. And these Widow Mine shots so far, not the biggest deal in the world. PiLiPiLi honestly handled this a lot better than I thought he would. And now, oh goodness. Oh, this is great. I love it. There's no engineering bay on the way. There's only one scan available.
Second one's on the way in 13 seconds, but that's a lot of time to kill off a ton of SCVs. So there's the first one. DT goes down. DT in the main base. Not really going to find too much right now, but look at what PiLiPiLi is doing. He's just targeting down. Oh wait, if he can get drilling claws here. I don't know if he's going to go for it. Yes, he is. So knocking down upgrades, knocking down add-ons. It's a bit of a problem. The second scan. Oh, friendly fire there, Ben. So many now are low.
They are absolutely tearing each other apart with invisible units here, there, and everywhere. Like, the Widow Mines are being annoying. MaSa's doing a good job of keeping them alive. Drilling Claws did not finish, but the amount of lost mining time for both of them, these DTs are still dealing damage. MaSa's handling it pretty decently because he's still trying to deal damage himself, but this is just... I feel this is so much easier for the Protoss to pull off at this point, and even that with the Widow Mines, both of them focus the Stalker there, wasting a shot entirely, so MaSa feeling a bit flustered.
And this DT is just finding really too much damage at this point. He's going to get the Armory. He's going to get the eBay. He forced the Drilling Claws to cancel, even if it didn't kill the Tech Lab, but it did force that cancel. And now there's a Raven out, so this should be the end of things, but it forces an auto turret. That's not going to find any value. PiLiPiLi is just dancing on MaSa's grave at this point. It's a massacre. There we go. It's a massacre from PiLiPiLi. And he's going to go back in because he knows the Raven can't do all that much. There are only 4 Marines here. It doesn't matter. It does not matter, Ben, that there is detection because there's just nothing to kill these invisible men.
You know, the sad part is, like, there actually won't be either in this game, I don't think. Like, he's producing 2 Marines at a time. No upgrades on the way. Look at PiLiPiLi. He's just producing a lot of gateways, getting blink afterwards as well. Oh, even dodges the Widow Mine there. PiLiPiLi flexing on him, trying to take down the Warp Prism a little bit too, and oh, these Widow Mines as well. They're not cloaked anymore.
Oh, Widow Mine there. Oh, he does it again. Looks like that actually drags some damage onto the Warp Prism, which is interesting. But yeah, PiLiPiLi, he goes to the gym 7 days a week. He's looking absolutely yoked in this game. And I don't really know what MaSa's going to do. It's interesting when there is so much detection in this game to still see the DTs find so much value. But part of this is MaSa has been spending a lot of his attention on the other side of the map. And there we go. Again, PiLiPiLi dodges the Widow Mines, this time with some Blink Stalkers. Not the Warp Prism, slightly less swagger moves. But still, it works out at the end of the day.
The amount of Widow Mines that have been dodged this game by PiLiPiLi, it's really nice. He's absolutely styling. When you see your opponent warps in 6 Stalkers in your base when you've not got stim or anything, you're a sad boy, a real sad boy. That Archon takes out all the Widow Mine shots, which is nice. And now MaSa, he's actually pulling every unit he has. Even the tank, look at that. Pops out, lives for about 2 seconds. Sad tank.
Yeah, PiLiPiLi saying, thank you very much, I'll knock that one down. He gets a barracks as well, so you're talking about production, just not really there. Not MaSa, he's dancing his units a little bit, but he understands that there is no avenue out of this game. And I'll say it, I think I said PiLiPiLi 2-1. I will enjoy that one, but what a cool series. What a weird series between these two.